Radio Saltire, broadcasting to East Lothian and the world with Jenna Coburn.
Hello folks, welcome to Jenna's Jamboree with me, Jenna Coburn. And if you saw on our social media, on today's show, I'll be taking us back in time as we delve into our past and relive our memories from back in the day. Remember when Taz and Freddo bars were only 10p? Remember when you passed notes in class instead of texting? Remember when TV only had 4 channels? Remember when you stole pick and mix sweets from Woolies? Those were the days. If you have some fab, fond and funny memories of the days gone by, send them in via our Facebook page or email studio@radiosolitaire.com. I love a trip down memory lane and I love a giggle. Remembering all the good, all the weird and all the funny times from back in the day. Like climbing trees to get away from daft wee dugs. Trying to work out how to get on top of a hay bale was like an episode of Krypton Factor. #farm life. Going up Arthur's Seat at Easter with a bag full of hard-boiled egg emojis. Yes, I just made that word up and it's copyrighted already, folks. So like I was saying, going up Arthur's Seat and flinging down these hard-boiled egg emojis. Missing bystanders by a whisker. Oopsie. Those truly were the days. Those were the 90s. Over the past few days, I conducted some highly sophisticated and very important polls related to the simpler times. The times where bum bags, scrunchies and double denim was in, and thankfully, Big Maggie T was on her way out. In my first poll, I asked the public, got some proper Les Dennis Family Fortunes vibes there. I asked the public what was their favourite chocolate bar that is sadly no longer available. The choices were Cadbury's Dream Bar, Mars Delight Bar, Milky Way Crispy Rolls, and Cadbury's Spira Bars. For me, it's the Spira Bar, right? But that only received 18% of the votes. That's not right. However, with a majority vote of 50%, Milky Way Crispy Rolls were the favourite. To be fair, they were nice as well. Oh, and mind, like I mentioned at the top of the show, Taz and Freddo bars, we ate them all, especially at 10p a pop we did. Well, Taz bars disappeared and were replaced with the caramel Freddo bars that are now 35p. That is sacrilege. Scandalous. Not right. Oh, and sticking with food and drink, I've just found out that Twist and Squeeze are no longer called Twist and Squeeze. They're called Squeeze It. Not as catchy, is it? Oh, and how could I forget Sunny D? Remember that stuff? Was supposed to be the healthier option as opposed to soft drinks. But in 1999, there was a Sunny D advert where a snowman turned orange, and on the back of that, it was reported that a 4-year-old girl's skin turned orange because she was drinking about 1.5 litres of the stuff a day. Something to do with how much beta-carotene or something that was in it. They were the good old days, weren't they? Today, I'm taking us, no, not down the garden path, but down memory lane, as we remember the fun and the funny times. A world away from these times, that's for sure. Mind, the internet was super slow back then, and there was hardly any info on it. Who else had a big clunky computer that was mostly used for playing Tomb Raider, Solitaire and Minesweeper and mucking about on paint? Oh my god, we were easily amused back in the day. For the millennials tuning in, everything you've heard so far did exist. They were just simpler times when we were all outdoors, using our imagination and mucking about to pass the time. I was always outdoors, skating about on my rollerblades or my skateboard. I was pretty lucky because my dad's a joiner and he made me a bogey. Do you remember them? They were like a wooden cart with wheelbarrow wheels and a rope to steer with. I mean, mine was quite fancy though because it had one of my dad's old motorbike Reggie plates on it. So I was cutting about the place on my fancy bogey and freewheeling it down some big hills. However, because bogies didn't have brakes and weren't road legal, my ankles got cut, scraped, absolutely annihilated trying to slow down. And I crashed into many a tree back then. However, my driving nowadays is much better. Having a steering wheel and brakes helps, funnily enough. Fond memories, so they were. That was until my dad just gave it away to some kids who were spotted just sitting in the garden. But to be fair, I had well grown out it, but still, memories. Anyway, folks, so it's my birthday next Sunday, and I was having a wee think of all the birthday parties I've had over the years, and I'm not going to lie, my absolute favourite was my 8th birthday party at a place called, do you remember it? It's Coco's at the Fort. Remember that place? It was round the back of where Curry's PC World is right now. And as soon as you walked in, there was a koi pond, or a wishing pond, where you threw in all your change and made a wish. But once you got inside, it was a huge soft play area with like a ball pit, giant slides, a mirror room bit that you could only crawl through. Oh, it was immense. And you also had the UCI cinema at the fort. Do you remember that? Oh, well, I say the fort. It was called Kinnaird Park back then. But to the elders, it was and still is Craig Park. That's a wee nod to my Auntie Goof there. Oh, and I cannot not mention Mega Bowl. I can still remember the layout of that place, like the desk when you went in to get your Velcro shoes, and then the space-themed carpet, and the wimpy food bit, and the amusements, and every single lane being occupied. Now we have to traipse away into the town for a wee bit temping. Come back, Mega Bowl. We don't need 8 different places at the fort where we can grab a coffee. Hands up, who had a Nokia 3310? Who had the Nokia brick? I know you did, because I did. Everybody did. 22 years ago they went on sale, by the way. And just another wee factoid here. The Nokia 3310 sold very well, being one of the most successful phones with 126 million units sold worldwide. And when you think Nokia, you think that phone. Now, hands up who also nearly broke that phone in a fit of rage when they couldn't control their snake and ended up losing that game. I know I'm not alone here. I used to do the exact same thing when I played my Game Boy. That Donkey Kong was getting it. Same with Big Bowser and Super Mario Brothers on the classic Nintendo, or NES for short. This thing gave me endless hours of fun and shouting. Known as the family computer, or Famicom for short, everybody loves abbreviations apparently, it was released in 1986 in Europe, and I've just checked that Super Mario Brothers was the all-time best-selling game for the NES. What can I say? I had great taste, obviously. Now, what makes me feel absolutely ancient when talking about the Nokia 3310 and the Game Boy and the NES is that all these can be found in museums across the UK and probably the world, to be honest. Are these things now known as relics? That is... I feel so old. Oh, and I almost forgot. I did a poll on my social media accounts and asked, 1, who had a Nokia 3310? And 2, who played Snake? And out of everyone that answered, 96% said they in fact did have the Nokia 3310 and they did in fact play Snake. Oh, and whilst I'm at it, I also asked if everyone owned one of these toys. Let's see if you can guess what it is. It was created in Japan, just like everything else was back then. It was released worldwide in 1997. It came on a chain and when translated it meant egg watch. Have we guessed what it is? It is, of course, a Tamagotchi. Remember they wee pests? And I say pests because back then we were busy kids, out having fun, forgetting we had even actually to pretend, feed and look after these wee fake pets. Fair to say I just chucked mine in a drawer and let it and the battery die. Oopsie. Oh aye, I did a poll about these. I got a wee bit sidetracked there. So out of everyone that answered, an unsurprising 88% said they owned a Tamagotchi back in the day. They were all the rage, to be fair. Them and Pokemon cards. They weren't really my thing, to be honest, but I do remember kids getting in fights over them. They were just bits of card. Clearly fun times. Today, we've reminisced. We've laughed, hopefully, as we've delved back in time and relived our memories from back in the day. Can I just say, how scary was Mr. Blobby? I'm talking the OG, the original Mr. Blobby from Noel's house party. To kids he was creepy, but looking back as an adult, he was an absolute rocket. All over the place, knocking stuff over, just being an absolute big, massive, clumsy tube. So from 1992 to 2015, he caused actual mayhem wherever he went. What a legend. Nothing like this new age Mr. Blobby though. Oh, and I've only just found out that Mr. Blobby has a wife, Mrs. Blobby, and a son, my god. Can you believe it? On today's show, I've been kicking up some fun times as we've been reminiscing of our days in the 80s and the 90s. Sometimes I think could just take me back there. The music was banging. The toys were fun. The fashion was questionable, but at least we never had influencers with muckle trout pouts, did we? Has anybody got a spare time machine that I could borrow? Anyhow, the adverts are Andrex. It's that adorable golden lab puppy stealing all the bog roll. That came out in 1994. And obviously, come on, we all know this one. It's Jaffa Cakes. When the ad came out, we all tried that half-moon approach, didn't we? To eating a Jaffa Cake. But do we know what year that came out? That was out on 1999. And next, the sweet you can eat without ruining your appetite. It's Milky Way. Classic TV ad from 1989. And come on, we all know this Christmas advert. It's up there with Holidays Are Coming. It's Toys R Us. Although they ceased trading in April 2018, it is rumoured that the stores are going to be opening again in the UK within months. Awesome. And I hope you have that Friday feeling. Otherwise, grab yourself a Crunchy Bar. Yes, that came out in 1994. That's where the Crunchy Bars turned into a roller coaster, then turned into a rocket, back into a roller coaster. Clearly a creative concept for the 90s. And now the TV shows. We should all have got this. The first one was a wee bit of Pat Sharp. It was Funhouse. That ran from 1989 to 1999. And of course it is Art Attack with the OG Neil Buchanan. That ran from 1990 to 2007. Mind that head, that talking stone bust thingamajig. That was well creepy. And next up was my favourite. It was the Crystal Maze. It ran from 1990 to 1993 with Richard O'Brien. That's the guy from the Rocky Horror Show fame. And then 1993 to 1995 was with Ed Tudor Pole. It was revived for a few seasons, but they're not as good as the original, are they? And the last one, come on, we all know what that was. That was Gladiators. Originally ran from 1992 to 2000. But who was your favourite? Wolf was mine because he was absolutely hilarious. But I bet the guys all like Jet and Lightning, eh? Call it an educated guess. I remember meeting Warrior at Asda at the Geo back in the 90s. I think we told him it was my birthday so we could get a picture with him, but it wasn't my birthday. Well, there you have it. Well done, everyone who guessed correctly. Give yourself a pat on the back. TV was class back then, eh? With only 5 channels. We were spoiled for choice, weren't we? Thanks so much for joining me here on Radio Solitaire. I will be back next week with either more of the same or maybe something a little different. Who knows, that's still a week away. No 2 shows are the same with me though, just so you know. So it's going to be completely random. Catch you next week. Bye!